The assembly hall doors slammed shut like a judge's gavel, trapping the echo of jeers that had chased Gabriel Reyes down the corridor. His backpack hit the linoleum with a thud, spilling notebooks and a half-eaten apple. As the principal's voice boomed over the intercom, Gabriel Reyes is no longer welcome at Lincoln High. Effective immediately, in that frozen second, the world narrowed to the faces of his classmates, twisted in triumph, eyes gleaming with the thrill of a hunt won, while his heart shattered into shards too sharp to scream. He'd known it was coming, ever since the locker room whispers turned to shoves, and the anonymous notes, "Faggot," multiplied like weeds in the cracks of his locker. But hearing it broadcast, cold and final, felt like drowning in shallow water. You could see the surface, gasp for it, but the weight of judgment pinned you under. Gabriel pressed his forehead against the cool metal door, tasting salt on his lips, tears or blood from the split he'd earned that morning. He couldn't tell anymore. Outside, the autumn wind whipped through Elmwood's cracked sidewalks, carrying the faint scent of burning leaves from backyards where families gathered for football and apple pie illusions. Gabriel stumbled into it, 18 years old and already an exile in the town that birthed him, wondering if love was just another word for the knife they twisted in your gut. Gabriel had always been the quiet storm at Lincoln High, the kid who sketched sunsets in the margins of his history textbook while the jocks high-fived over touchdowns that meant nothing in the grand, indifferent sweep of the universe. Elmwood, Ohio, heartland America, where cornfields stretched like golden promises under endless blue skies, and Sunday sermons reminded you that God's love came with footnotes, didn't tolerate deviations from the script. Gay? That was city talk. New York or San Francisco fever dreams. Here, it was sin wrapped in flannel, whispered about over potlucks but never faced head-on. Started small, the way these things do in places like Elmwood. A glance held too long in the hallway, toward Jake Harlan's broad shoulders and easy laugh, the quarterback who smelled like fresh-cut grass and possibility. Gabriel didn't mean to stare. It just happened, like gravity pulling him toward the one light in a room full of shadows. Jake caught him once, after gym class, towel slung low on his hips, water dripping from his chest hair that was just starting to darken. "What the fuck, Reyes?" Jake's voice had cracked, not with anger but something sharper, fear, maybe, or the first flicker of curiosity that scared him shitless. By lunch the next day, the cafeteria buzzed like a hive kicked over. "Reyes is a queer," someone muttered, loud enough for the dominoes to fall. Texts flew. Blurry photos from the locker room, edited with rainbow filters and devil horns. Gabriel deleted them as fast as they came, but the damage was viral, spreading through group chats like the flu. He stopped eating in the CAF. The stairs were too heavy, like hands pressing down on his shoulders, invisible but bruising. Home wasn't sanctuary. His mom, Rosa, worked double shifts at the diner, her hands cracked from dishwater, her smile a weary flag of endurance. Dad had split when Gabriel was 10, chasing a waitress to Toledo with excuses about needing space. Rosa loved fierce but quiet, the kind of love that folded laundry at midnight and left tamales warming on the stove. She didn't know about the notes yet, the ones Gabriel burned in the backyard fire pit, ashes scattering like his secrets. "Mijo, you okay? You look pale," she'd say, brushing his hair back with fingers that smelled of lemon pledge. "I'm fine, Mama. Just school crap, lies stacked like bricks, building a wall he hoped would hold. But walls crumble." It escalated on a Tuesday in October, the air crisp with the promise of homecoming banners fluttering from lampposts. Gabriel was in the art room after school, charcoal smudging his fingers as he drew the curve of a jawline he pretended was anonymous. The door creaked open, and there was Tyler Voss, vice-captain of the football team, all 6'2" of farm boy muscle and beer belly bravado at 19. Tyler's dad owned the local feed store. His idea of rebellion was sneaking cores into the tailgates. Working on your fairy tales, princess. Tyler's laugh was wet, like he was choking on his own punchline. He snatched the sketchpad, flipping pages with deliberate slowness. Gabriel lunged, but Tyler was faster, pinning him against the supply closet with a forearm like rebar. Give it back, man. It's nothing. Gabriel's voice trembled, but he held Tyler's gaze, dark eyes meeting ice blue, a standoff in the fluorescent hum. Tyler leaned in, breath hot with spearmint gum and malice. Nothing? Like how you look at Jake, or how you prance around like you're better than us. The shove came next, hard enough to rattle easels, sending paint cans clattering like thunder. Gabriel's head cracked against the edge of a table, stars exploding behind his eyelids. Blood trickled warm down his temple, but it was the laugh Tyler's guttural, echoing bark that cut deepest. By the time the janitor found him, curled on the floor amid the chaos, the rumors had metastasized. Principal Hargrove, a bull-necked relic with a mustache like a broom bristle, called him in the next morning. The office smelled of stale coffee and regret, walls lined with framed photos of football triumphs and choir robes. Gabriel, we've had complaints. Disruptive behavior, inappropriate conduct. Hargrove's eyes didn't meet his. They fixed on the desk blotter, as if the words were scripted there. Inappropriate? They attacked me. Tyler, boys got a future. Scholarship to OSU. You. Well, son, this town's got standards. The suspension slip was slid across the desk like a death warrant. 3 days, mandatory counseling. But Gabriel knew it was code for get out. He didn't tell Rosa. Instead, he biked to the edge of town, to the old quarry where the water ran deep and black, skipping stones until his arm ached. That's when his phone buzzed, a number he didn't recognize. Hey. Saw what happened. You okay? Daniel. The name alone sent a shiver through him, equal parts thrill and terror. They'd met over summer, at the community center's volunteer gig, painting murals for the rec league. Daniel Whitaker, 28, with salt and pepper stubble that made him look like a young professor from one of those indie films, and eyes green as the Ohio River after rain. He was new to Elmwood, hired as the interim counselor or something administrative. Whispers said he was from Chicago, fleeing some big city burnout. Gabriel had been drawn to him immediately. The way Daniel listened, really listened, when Gabriel rambled about Van Gogh's blues or the ache of feeling like an outsider in his own skin. Their first real talk had been under the mural's half-finished sky, paint flecking Daniel's forearms like tattoos. You ever feel like you're painting over cracks that won't stay filled? Gabriel had asked, voice small. Daniel had paused, brush mid-stroke, and looked at him, not with pity, but recognition. Every damn day, kid. But the cracks, they're where the light gets in. From there, texts turned to coffee runs at the diner's back booth, away from prying eyes. Daniel shared stories of Chicago's underground poetry slams, where love wasn't a dirty word. Gabriel confessed his crushes, the terror of Jake's smile, the weight of unspoken truths. One evening, as fireflies blinked in the dusk. Daniel's hand had brushed his accidental, then not. The kiss that followed was tentative, tasting of black coffee and forbidden fruit, under the willow by the quarry. It was Gabriel's first, and it rewired him. Desire wasn't shame, it was fire. But Daniel pulled back after, ice shadowed. This town's not ready for us, Gabe. And I'm supposed to be the adult here. The us hung between them, a bridge half-built. Now, staring at the text, Gabriel's thumbs hovered. Not okay. They hate me. Send. The reply came fast. Meet me at the quarry. 7 p.m. We'll figure it. The sun dipped low as Gabriel pedaled there, leaves crunching under tires like brittle bones. Daniel was waiting, leaning against his beat-up Ford pickup, arms crossed over a faded Cubs hoodie. The hug was immediate, fierce, Daniel's chin resting on Gabriel's crown, hands rubbing circles on his back like he could erase the bruises. Talk to me, Daniel murmured, voice gravelly with that Chicago edge. They know. About me. And Tyler, he. The words tumbled out, jagged and raw, ending in sobs that shook Gabriel like fever chills. Daniel held him tighter, the quarry's edge forgotten. Fuck them. You're not alone, Gabe. Not anymore. As the stars pricked the sky, Daniel kissed his forehead, then his lips soft, promising more than words. For the first time in weeks, Gabriel breathed without drowning. But Elmwood's currents ran deep and dark. Word of the incident reached Hargrove's ears twisted. Gabriel had provoked it, seduced Tyler with his lifestyle. The 3-day suspension stretched to a week, then indefinite leave. Rosa found out when the school called, her voice breaking over the phone. Mijo, what happened? Why didn't you tell me? I didn't want to worry you, Gabriel whispered, curled on his bed amid posters of starry nights. She came home early, arms full of empanadas from the diner, and they cried together. Tears for the boy she raised on stories of abuelas who fought for their place, now facing the same ghosts. We'll fight this, she vowed, but her eyes held the defeat of too many battles lost. The final blow landed Friday, the assembly announcement. Gabriel watched it stream on his phone from a friend's reluctant share, Hargrove's face stern, the hall erupting in murmurs that swelled to cheers when his name dropped. No longer welcome, the apple rolled under his bed, forgotten, as nausea clawed his gut. He texted Daniel, it's over. They expelled me. The reply, not yet. Hang on. I'm coming for you. Little did Gabriel know. Daniel's plan was a grenade with the pin half pulled, a revelation that would shatter Elmwood's fragile peace and bind their fates in ways neither could foresee. The weekend blurred into a haze of rain-slicked streets and take-out tacos, Rosa's shifts pulling her away while Gabriel paced their shotgun house like a caged wolf. Elmwood's main drag, barbershop stripes spinning lazy under neon, the hardware store's bell tinkling for farmers in John Deere caps, felt alien now, every glance an accusation. He avoided the mirror. The bruise on his cheek had bloomed purple, a map of his unworthiness. Daniel called Sunday night, voice low as if walls had ears. Gabe, I need to tell you something. Meet me at the old mill. Midnight. Bring nothing but trust. The mill loomed on the river's bend, rusted silos like forgotten giants under a moon fat as a harvest promise. Gabriel arrived on foot, sneakers squelching in mud, heart hammering a rhythm of dread and desire. Daniel emerged from the shadows, not in his usual hoodie but a crisp button-down, sleeves rolled to elbows that spoke of boardrooms, not backroads. "What's this?" Gabriel asked, gesturing to the unfamiliar polish. Daniel took his hands, calluses rough from summer labor now smoothed by something sharper. "Ambition, maybe." "I'm not just the counselor, Gabe." That was a cover. Hargrove's retiring, forced out by budget cuts and scandals. "The board hired me last week as the new principal." Daniel Whitaker, fresh from Chicago public schools, here to clean house. Gabriel's breath caught, a laugh bubbling up sharp and disbelieving. "Principal? You? The guy who quotes Rumi while spray painting walls?" Daniel's grin flashed white in the dark. "The one and only. I didn't tell you because... complications. Like this." He pulled Gabriel close, their foreheads touching, breaths mingling in the chill. "I start Monday. And I'm not letting them bury you." The kiss that followed was hungrier, laced with the urgency of secret spilling. Daniel's hands framed Gabriel's face, thumbs tracing the bruise like braille, reading pain and promising balm. They sank to the mill's overgrown grass, the river murmuring approval as clothes whispered away. Gabriel's shirt unbuttoned slow, Daniel's belt buckle cold against fevered skin. It was their first time fully, bodies learning each other in the dappled moonlight. Gabriel's gasps echoing off silos, Daniel's whispers of beautiful and mine weaving through the night like spells. After, tangled in each other's arms, sweat cooling on skin, reality crept back. "What if they find out about us?" Gabriel murmured, tracing the scar on Daniel's collarbone, a remnant of a Chicago bar fight he'd said once. "Then they find out. I'm done hiding. For both of us." Daniel's voice held steel, the kind forged in city alleys where love fought dirty to survive. Monday dawned brittle, frost etching the Reyes window panes like lace. Rosa kissed Gabriel's forehead before her shift. "Stay strong, Mijo." "School called," said the new guys reviewing your case. Hope flickered in her eyes, fragile as a candle in wind. Gabriel walked to Lincoln High anyway, backpack slung defiant over one shoulder, the expulsion notice crumpled in his pocket like a dare. The parking lot hummed with buses belching diesel, kids spilling out in clusters, cheerleaders in ponytails bouncing like springs, band geeks toting tubas like shields. He slipped through side doors, pulse thundering, aiming for the art room's sanctuary. But Tyler was there, lounging against lockers with his crew, Jake at the edge looking queasy. "Look, it's the dropout fairy," Tyler sneered, tossing a crumpled soda can that bounced off Gabriel's knee. Laughter rippled, but Jake's eyes darted away. "Guilty." "Leave it, Ty," Jake muttered, but his voice lacked conviction. Tyler advanced, chest puffed. "Or what? Gonna cry to your boyfriend?" The word hung. A bomb detonated too soon. How did he know? Gabriel froze, the hallway closing in. Before he could bolt, the PA crackled, "All students to the auditorium." Immediate assembly. "This is Principal Whitaker." Whispers erupted like dry leaves in gust. Tyler smirked. Saved by the bell. Queer. But Gabriel followed the flow, a ghost among the living, sliding into a back row seat as the stage lights flared. Daniel strode out, transformed, suit tailored sharp, tie a slash of crimson against his throat, hair combed back but for that rebellious curl. The room hushed, a collective intake. Who was this outsider, striding like he owned the dust motes. "Good morning, Lincoln High." Daniel's voice filled the space, resonant with Midwestern warmth edged by urban grit. "I'm Principal Whitaker. Some of you might know me from the rec center painting, coaching, reminding y'all that school's not just about scores, but souls." Murmurs, a few nods from the artsy kids. Gabriel sank lower, torn between pride and panic. Daniel's eyes swept the crowd, locking on his for a heartbeat that stretched eternal. "I've reviewed files this weekend. Budgets, policies, and injustices." Pause. Deliberate. Like the expulsion of a student last Friday. Gabriel Reyes. Gasps rippled. Heads swiveled. Tyler whooped from the front, quickly stifled. Gabriel's stomach plummeted. Was this a trap? Gabriel was assaulted on school grounds. Witnesses confirm it. Yet he was the one punished. Daniel's tone sharpened, a blade unsheathed. "That's not Lincoln High. Not anymore." Applause scattered, tentative. Rose's face flashed in Gabriel's mind, her pride, her fear. But Daniel wasn't done. "I know Gabriel. He's talented, resilient, an artist whose work could hang in the Met. Lies? No. Truths wrapped in hyperbole. And he's brave enough to be himself in a world that punishes it." Tyler's hand shot up. "Sir, with respect, he's, one of those." The room tensed, a held breath. Daniel leaned on the podium, eyes pinning Tyler like a specimen. "One of those? Enlighten me, Mr. Voss." Tyler flushed beet red. "Gay, sir. It's against values." Daniel's laugh was soft, disarming, a chuckle that echoed off rafters. "Values? Son, the only value here is safety. And love, whatever shape it takes." He straightened, gaze sweeping again, finding Gabriel's. "Because if we're confessing truths, let's start at the top." The auditorium doors creaked open then, Hargrove shuffling in red-faced, flanked by board members in ill-fitting suits. "Whitaker, this is irregular. Save it." "Harlan." Daniel's bark silenced him. "Harlan, as in Jake's dad. The board chair?" The connections clicked, Hargrove's mustache, Tyler's swagger, a web of old boys club rot. "I came to Elmwood for a reason," Daniel continued, voice steady as the river beyond. "Not just the job, but because I know what it's like to be forced out. Kicked from my own high school in Chicago, 20 years ago, for holding a boy's hand at prom." The room exploded, whispers to shouts, chairs scraping. Gabriel's world tilted. Daniel, outed in his youth, carrying that scar like a badge. "But I rose. Got my degree. Fought for kids like me. And now," Daniel's eyes burned into Gabriel's, promise etched in green. "Gabriel Reyes isn't just a student. He's the reason I took this job. Because he's mine. My partner. The man I love." Time fractured. Gabriel's chair hit the floor as he stood, cheers and boos clashing like thunder. Tyler lunged toward the stage, Jake hauling him back in a tangle of limbs. Rosa burst through a side door. "How?" Clapping fierce, tears streaming. Daniel extended a hand from the podium, unwavering. Gabriel climbed the steps, the aisle a gauntlet of stairs that stripped him bare but left him whole. Their fingers laced, public and proud, as Daniel pulled him into an embrace that smelled of starch and safety. The fallout crashed like waves. Hargrove's bluster deflating into resignation. Tyler dragged out by security. Jake's conflicted stare lingering like apology. But in that moment, amid the chaos, Gabriel felt seen, not as the freak, but the heart of the storm. Yet storms brew deeper. As the assembly dissolved into knots of debate, a text buzzed Daniel's pocket. "You think this changes anything? Board's meeting tonight. You're done." And signed, but the venom was Harlan's. Gabriel caught the flicker in Daniel's jaw. "What is it?" "Nothing we can't handle." But the lie tasted bitter, even to him. That night, over stolen moments in Daniel's apartment, a loft above the hardware store, walls lined with jazz records and dog-eared Kerouac, they made love again, slower, mapping each other's fears. "I love you," Gabriel whispered, tracing constellations on Daniel's back. "Love you more," Daniel replied, but his eyes held shadows of battles yet to come. By dawn, the first cracks showed. Protesters at the school gates, signs scrawled with "Protect Our Kids" in careful cursive. Harlan's wife at the fore. Elmwood's heart, once soft under its cornhusk exterior, was hardening into stone. The board meeting leaked like a sieve. Elmwood's gossip mill grinding overtime. Whitaker's indecent proposal. They called it "as if love were a zoning violation." By Tuesday, the parking lot bristled with pickups sporting faded POW stickers and fresh, traditional values, bumper art. Rosa fielded calls at the diner, half support from the old widows who'd lost sons to AIDS in the 80s, half venom from church ladies clutching pearls over their Cobb salads. Gabriel returned to classes under armed truce. Art room his bunker. Hallways navigated like minefields. Jake cornered him by the vending machines, shoulders hunched in his Letterman jacket. "Gabe. Man, I'm sorry. Tyler's my boy. But that shit, it ain't right." Gabriel searched his face. The jaw he'd sketched 100 times now etched with regret. "Then why didn't you stop it?" Jake rubbed his neck. Eyes down. "Scared, I guess. Dad's on the board, breathing down my neck about image. But you and Whitaker, that's real. Respect." It was olive branch enough. Gabriel nodded, the knot in his chest loosening a thread. But Tyler lurked, suspended but seething. His text to Jacob Barrage, "He's ruining everything. We fight back." Daniel's office became command central. Oak desk piled with policy tomes. Window overlooking the football field where drills echoed like war drums. He pulled strings, counseling for Tyler. Diversity training mandated. Even a GSA club charter slipped through before Harlan could rally votes. Nights, they stole away to the quarry. Blankets spread under stars that seemed brighter now. Bodies entwined in defiance. "You're changing everything," Gabriel murmured one evening. Head on Daniel's chest. The steady thump a lullaby. Daniel's fingers carded through his hair. "We're changing it. But it's fragile, Gabe. One wrong move." The wrong move came Thursday. Betrayal's blade honed sharp. Jake texted Gabriel mid-bio, "Meet me in the chem lab. Got something for you." Curiosity overrode caution. The lab was empty. Bunsen burners cold ghosts. Jake waited, fidgeting with a flash drive. Proof. Tyler's dad, Harlan, he's been cooking books. Embezzling from the booster fund for his casino trips. I hacked his email. For you. Gabriel's pulse raced. Leverage. A weapon. Why now? 'Cause I like you, Reyes. Always did. And this. Jake's grin was crooked. Boyish. This evens the score. They hugged awkward, Jake's cologne sharp, and Gabriel pocketed the drive like contraband gold. But as he turned, the door clicked shut. Tyler, flanked by two linemen, grins feral. "Gotcha," Tyler drawled. Phone raised, video rolling. The kiss Jake planted then, sudden, forceful on Gabriel's cheek, was theater, but the footage screamed scandal. "You set me up," Gabriel choked, shoving back as the lineman closed in. Jake's face crumpled, but Tyler's laugh drowned it. "Nah," he delivered. Principal's boy toy caught cheating with the QB. "Board'll eat this shit up." The beating was swift. Fists to ribs, a knee to the gut that folded Gabriel like paper. He curled fetal on the tile, tasting copper. As flashes popped, Tyler's phone, immortalizing the fight. Jake bolted, vanishing into the fray. Nurses patched him in the clinic, ice packs blooming bruises anew. Daniel arrived wild-eyed, suit rumpled from the dash across campus. "Who? Gabe? Talk to me. Jake." "Trap." "Flash drive, Harlan's dirt." The words slurred through swelling lips. Daniel's face darkened, piecing it. He pocketed the drive, kissing Gabriel's knuckles. "Rest. I've got this." But the video hit socials by dinner. Lincoln High scandal trending local. Clips edited to paint Gabriel the aggressor, grabbing Jake, seducing him before the attack. Harlan's spin was masterful. "This proves the danger Whitaker invites." Protests swelled. A parent coalition formed, petitions circling for Daniel's ouster. Rosa barricaded the diner, slinging coffee with glares that could curdle milk. "They touch my boy again. I call IC on their asses," she muttered to the TV news crew lurking outside. Friday's assembly was electric, air thick as pre-storm ozone. Daniel took the stage alone. Gabriel sidelined in the nurse's office with cracked ribs and a concussion fog. "We've seen ugliness this week," Daniel began, voice steady but laced with fire. "A video, twisted to lie. But truth doesn't bend." He cued the projector. Jake's confession, recorded secretly on Daniel's phone that morning. Boy in tears, spilling Tyler's plot. Harlan's graft. Gasps. Harlan bolted from the back row, face ashen. Embezzlement. Assault. Blackmail. This ends now. Daniel's eyes blazed. "And to those who think love like mine and Gabriel's threatens your kids, it saves them. From hate. From you." Cheers erupted. But so did walkouts. Tyler's crew chanting slurs. Harlan's allies fleeing to lawyers. Jake took the mic next. Voice breaking. "I fucked up. Gabe's good people. I like guys too. Always have." The revelation landed like a meteor. Quarterback queer. Elmwood's golden boy cracked open. Booze mixed with hugs. A girl in the front row stood, yelling, "We got you, Jake." Gabriel watched from his phone stream, tears blurring the screen. Betrayal's sting dulled to ache. Jake's truth a mirror to his own. But victory soured fast. That night, Daniel's apartment door splintered under a brick through the window, glass shards glittering like accusations. Faggot principal scrawled in red on the wall. Police came, dusted for prints. But Harlan's shadow loomed, whispers of board votes, threats of lawsuits. They patched the window with cardboard, made love on the couch amid the mess. Desperate, clinging. "We leave?" Gabriel asked, tracing the new scar on Daniel's palm from the shards. "Not yet. One more fight." Daniel's resolve was iron, but his eyes held fear's glint. Saturday brought the counter-rally. Rainbow flags waving from the school steps, allies from Columbus bussed in, queer activists with megaphones, parents like Rosa holding signs. Love thy neighbor, all. Jake spoke, out and unbowed, arm around a wide-eyed freshman who'd confessed his crush. Tyler slunk in shadows, expelled for good. Harlan indicted by noon on embezzlement charges. Yet the board convened emergency session. Harlan's cronies pushing a no-confidence vote. Daniel faced them in a conference room smelling of burnt coffee and bad faith. Fire me, you fire progress. But know this, Gabe and I, we're forever. The vote tied. Rose's testimony, immigrant firebrand railing against small-town bigotry, tipped it. Daniel stayed, but probation loomed, a sword over their heads. In the afterglow, walking the quarry hand in hand, Gabriel felt the romance deepen. Not fireworks, but hearth fire, steady and warm. You announced who you really were, he said, squeezing Daniel's fingers. For me, for us. Daniel pulled him close, the river singing their anthem. But Elmwood's undercurrents whispered warnings. Grudges nursed in barstools, elections looming. Love had won a battle, but the war, that was written in the wind. Winter clamped down on Elmwood like a vice, snow blanketing the corn stubble in deceptive purity, muffling the grumbles that simmered beneath. Daniel's probation meant audits, open-door policies, every decision dissected like a frog in bio class. He threw himself into reforms. Guest speakers from GLSEN, murals by Gabriel's hand adorning the halls, vibrant swirls of blue and gold, lovers' silhouettes entwined against stormy skies. Gabriel healed slow, ribs knitting like grudging allies, but the real mending was psychic. Jake became a tentative friend. Lunches in the art room trading sketches for stories, his first crush on a summer camp counselor, the terror of suiting up for games while hiding. Coming out felt like jumping without a net. Jake admitted, charcoal smudging his knuckles as he drew Gabriel's profile. Net's there if you look, Gabriel replied, echoing Daniel. Their bond was fraternal now, laced with the what-ifs of youth, but it fortified him, proof that bridges could rebuild over chasms. Rosa blossomed too, diner buzzing with a new crowd. Queer kids from outlying farms, their parents thawing over her posole. This town's got heart, she told Daniel over coffee one dawn, snow flurrying past the window. Just needed a kick. Daniel nodded, but shadows lingered under his eyes, sleepless from threat logs, anonymous emails dripping vitriol, pedo principal grooming the fag. The betrayal's echo rang loudest from within. A teacher, Ms. Ellis, who'd clapped loudest at the assembly, now feeding intel to Harlan's lawyer. She'd cornered Daniel in the copy room. You're destroying our Christian values. Our values? Try hiding who you love until it eats you alive. He'd walked away, but the seed of doubt sprouted. Was Elmwood salvageable? Or just a prettier cage? Romance, though, was their oxygen. Valentine's sneaked in mid-blizzard. Daniel surprising Gabriel with a drive to Toledo. City lights a bomb after Elmwood's hush. They wandered the Mud Hen Stadium, empty and echoing, sharing hot cocoa from a thermos. Remember our first kiss? Daniel asked, breath fogging the air. Like yesterday, Gabriel leaned in, their lips meeting soft amid the diamond's chill. Romance distilled to this, two souls against the freeze. Back home, the high crashed. Harlan's trial loomed, but his parting shot landed. Leaked emails, doctored to suggest Daniel had pursued Gabriel pre-principalship, painting grooming in lurid strokes. The Gazette ran it front page, Principal's predatory past? With a photo of them at the quarry. Candid and damning, hands blurred but intent clear. Protests reignited, fiercer. Crosses planted on the lawn, sermons thundering damnation. Tyler, out on bail, led a pack egging Daniel's truck. Sinner keyed into the hood. Police shrugged, kids being kids, but the fear coiled tight. Gabriel confronted him that night, apartment lit by a single lamp casting long shadows. We run. Chicago. Start over. Daniel paced, tie loosened like a noose. And let them win? No. But, Gabe, if it comes to it, you go. College apps. I've got connections. Fuck that. Gabriel's voice cracked, anger flaring. You announced us. You don't get to bail now. The fight escalated. Words weapons. Daniel accusing Gabriel of naivety. You're 18. Kid. I've got scars older than you. Gabriel hurling back privilege. Easy for the white knight to preach from his ivory tower. It climaxed in silence. Backs turned. The space between them a chasm wider than the river. Morning brought contrition. Daniel at the door with tamales from Rosa, eyes red-rimmed. I'm scared. Of losing you. Of dragging you under. Gabriel pulled him in. Forgiveness in the press of bodies. Then we swim together. They made love urgent. Reclaiming ground. Nails raking backs. Gasps prayers against the storm. The climax brewed in March. Spring thaw melting snow into mudslick treachery. The board's final review. Daniel's fate in vote. Harlan's ghost presiding via proxy. Allies rallied. Jake's testimony. Rosa's petition with 300 signatures. Even the mayor hedging bets with a nod to inclusivity. But betrayal struck deepest from Jake. Tyler cornered him post-practice. Your dad's sinking. That video? I got more. You in or out? Jake wavered. Loyalty fracturing. He texted Tyler one last chance. But doubt gnawed. He confessed to Gabriel in the parking lot. Rain sheeting down. Tyler's got dirt, real. On Whitaker. Something from Chicago. I can leak it. End this. Gabriel's gut twisted, echo of the chem lab trap. Don't. Please. For once. Choose right. Jake nodded. Water streaming down his face like tears. For you. The vote day dawned gray. Skies threatening. Daniel dressed in his best suit. Kissing Gabriel fierce at the door. Whatever happens. I love you. The chamber was packed. Press in the back. Supporters shoulder to shoulder. Harlan's proxy, a weasel-faced accountant, presented evidence. Chicago clippings. Daniel's old expulsion spun as moral turpitude. Whispers of impropriety with students. Daniel rose. Voice thunder. Lies. I was the student. Outed and ousted. Fought back. Built a career protecting kids like me. Like Gabriel. He played the flash drive, Harlan's ledgers exposed. But more. Jake's affidavit. Tyler's recorded boasts of the setup. Chaos erupted, shouts. Gavel bangs. The proxy blanched. Votes shifted like sand. Jake burst in then. Soaked and shaking. Mic in hand. It's bullshit. All of it. Tyler framed Gabe for me. Because I couldn't face it. The room stilled. Then roared, applause crashing like waves. Tyler, in the crowd, lunged at Jake. Fists flying before security swarmed. Harlan's proxy fled. The board chair, a grandmotherly type with kind eyes, called the vote. Whitaker stays. 7-3. Elation surged. Hugs and backslaps. Daniel found Gabriel in the hall, pulling him into a kiss unheeding of cameras. Raw, triumphant, tears salting their lips. But victory's aftertaste was ash. Tyler's arrest that night, assault charges stacked high, broke Jake. He vanished after a note to his dad, need space. Love you. Rumors swirled. Runaway to Columbus, or worse. Gabriel searched with Daniel. Posters wheat-pasted on poles. Calls to shelters yielding nothing. The quarry yielded clues. A jacket snagged on branches. Jake's sketchpad sodden but salvaged. Pages of their faces, intertwined, captioned light in the cracks. Grief hollowed them. Daniel's reforms stalled. Energy sapped. Gabriel's art turned somber. Blues deepening to navy voids. Romance endured, but fragile. Nights holding each other against the empty. Whispering hopes Jake was safe. Somewhere kinder. Spring bloomed mocking. Dogwoods pink against grief's gray. One evening, as fireflies returned, a postcard arrived. Chicago postmark. Jake scrawl found my net. Thanks for the push. J. Relief flooded. Bittersweet. They framed it by the quarry, toasting with stolen beers to absent friends. Yet the human cost lingered. Tyler's family shattered. Harlan's legacy rot unearthed in therapy circles. Elmwood changed, inching toward light, but scars mapped the cost. Summer unfurled lazy over Elmwood. Fireflies scripting Morse in the dusk. The air thick with cut grass and grilled burgers from block parties that now included rainbow flags fluttering beside the stars and stripes. Lincoln High's halls echoed empty, but the murals stood sentinel. Gabriel's masterpiece, a wall-sized ode to resilience. Two figures back-to-back against a tempest. Hands linked. Faces turned to dawn. Daniel's probation lifted in June. The board's apology, a terse letter tucked in his desk drawer. He channeled it into legacy. Scholarships named for out kids. A Pride Week baked into the calendar. Not perfection, he'd say over porch swings with Rosa, her tamales steaming between them, but progress. Like America messy, but marching. Gabriel graduated top of his class. Cap tassel swinging as he crossed the stage to cheers that drowned old jeers. Jake's empty seat ached. A ghost in the front row, but his letter home, forwarded from a Chicago halfway house, promised return, college in fall. Art major. OU1. The ceremony after-party was low-key. Backyard strung with lights. Neighbors mingling wary but warm. Tyler's trial wrapped. Juvenile diversion. Counseling mandated. His swagger deflated to sullen shrugs. Harlan rotted in county. Appeals denied. A cautionary tale over coffee clutches. Romance, though, was their anchor, evolving from fevered youth to steady burn. They road-tripped west, chasing Route 60 SIXS ghosts, neon motels in Illinois, painted deserts in New Mexico where Daniel proposed under a meteor shower, ring simple silver etched with cracks let in light. Gabriel said yes with a kiss that tasted of sagebrush and forever, tears carving tracks in dust. Back in Elmwood, wedding plans wove quiet, Rosa's abuela's recipes for the cake, Jake as best man via video from his dorm. The town debated church or courthouse, settling on the quarry, willows arching like cathedral vaults, river as witness. But humanity's thread pulled taut in the quiet moments. One August eve, As harvest moons rose fat, Gabriel found Daniel by the water, staring at ripples like regrets. "What's eating you?" Daniel turned, green eyes stormy. "This place. It broke us open. But what if we hadn't fought? What if Jake hadn't made it?" Gabriel knelt beside him, hand on knee. "Then we'd have grieved harder, loved quieter. But we didn't. And that's the story, not the hurt, but the healing." Daniel pulled him close, foreheads touching. "Poet now." "Ha! You're poet." Laughter bubbled, easing the weight. The ceremony was small. Rosa beaming in her mantilla, Jake beaming brighter via screen from Chicago, his own boyfriend, a lanky sculptor, waving hello. Vows exchanged under the willow, Daniel's voice gravel steady. "I choose you." Every crack and light, Gabriel's soft thunder. "You announced us. I'll echo you forever." They danced barefoot in the grass. Fireflies confetti, the rivers song their band. No drama, just depth, love as verb, as home. Years folded forward. Gabriel's gallery shows in Columbus, canvases of queer heartland heroes. Daniel's superintendency spanning counties, reforms rippling. Rosa's diner became haven, walls papered with pride pins. Jake visited, settled with his sculptor in a loft alive with clay and laughter. Elmwood softened, edges rounded by time and tales. Kids came out in assemblies now, met with hugs not howls. The quarry became unofficial landmark. Lovers leap, they joked, but leaps of faith. One winter solstice, snow dusting their graying temples, Daniel and Gabriel returned, bundled against bite. "Remember the hook?" Daniel asked, breath clouding. "That assembly door slamming?" Gabriel chuckled, arm around waist. "Slams open too. Sometimes." They kissed slow, world fading to two, proof that in America's vast, veined heart, love could be kith and kin, storm and shelter. And in the end, it was enough. Human, flawed, luminous.